can get ideas to help you grow your eco-conscious business. And today I'm joined by Gill McKay from MyBrain International, and we're talking about the eco-conscious business brain. So welcome, Gill. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I've been watching this since you started it, and I'm delighted. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And so Gill has, for more than 20 years, she has worked with coaches, trainers, and HR professionals to amplify their results through using neuroscience in their work. Her teaching helps them to increase their client self-awareness, their emotional engagement, and awaken their brains to help them achieve deep transformation and change. So really interesting subject, and it is Mental Health Awareness Week, so we timed this perfectly.
Absolutely. Did we really know that at the time of booking?
I did not know that at the time, even though I had a calendar with awareness dates. I didn't know that it fell in the same thing, so I think it's great timing. So we'll launch straight into the questions and ask why neuroscience is so popular and why is now such a great time to learn about it.
Yeah, that is a great question, actually. I think that the easy answer is that neuroscience has become fashionable and topical because there's so much more written about it in the press. It's more available, isn't it? It's more accessible to us. I mean, trust me, there's a lot of neuro nonsense written as well. But there's also, I think people are really enjoying reading about it because we can now apply it to the world of business and to ourselves personally, rather than just in the medical and clinical spheres. And the reason that has happened is because of technology. And for years and years, psychologists, behavioral scientists, all of those other wonderful professions have been giving us great information about human behavior. But neuroscience is now, because of technology, being able to give us a little bit of information about what makes us tick. So it's beginning to give us some answers. And I think innately, people are really curious. So in the past, we had to wait to see the results of autopsies in labs or rat experiments or working with people with really horrible conditions such as schizophrenia. But now we can actually attach something to the scalp of an alive person, somebody who's fully functioning, alive, in day-to-day situations. And that's fascinating because we're now able to look at why we act in a particular way. So it's shining a light on really useful areas like our emotions, so why we respond in particular ways when certain things happen, how we interpret information, how we make decisions, what energizes us and buzzes us up, what drains us. And I think that's really useful, both personally, but also in business as well. You know, metaphorically, we can understand a little bit more now about how we can navigate relationships, how we can step into our clients' brains, you know, metaphorically, of course, and really kind of understand what makes them tick. What are the messages that they want to hear? How can we in business align with them and the way that they energize, the way that they process information? So all of those amazing areas. And you'll increasingly see that there are neuro disciplines that are popping up. You know, there is neuromarketing has been around for ages and ages. You know, actually, literally, advertisers, you know, if you think about a Volvo advert versus an Aston Martin advert, they're different, aren't they? Because they're looking at different desires. Neuro law, it's actually on the agenda at Harvard Law School. There's something about neuro law, and evidently defense lawyers sometimes look at neuroscience to get their clients off or a reduced sentence. It wasn't him, it was their brain. So there are lots of applications, and I think it's exciting. It is fashionable, but it's also really useful because we can think about what makes me tick, what makes my client tick, what makes my family tick. How can we navigate all those lovely complexities of relationships and understand a little bit more about why we are the way we are?
Definitely. Oh, that's really interesting. And yeah, definitely, I do see it more and more. So many things that could do. And I mean, that leads into my next questions is, you know, can neuroscience help give a perspective on why people may become more eco-conscious?
Yeah, you know, I actually think it can. And I think that, I know people are probably sick of hearing this, but I do think that the events of the last year and the pandemic has been a catalyst for many people to operate in a different way. And I think this is also where the answer to your question, the neuroscience comes in. I think what's happened is many of us have been able to take a bit of time out to reflect a little bit more on perhaps what matters, what priorities matter in our lives, and it's perhaps helped us to connect better to our wider purpose. Now, I know that sounds like big words. You know, we might not have sat down at the dinner table and talked to the family about what is our wider purpose, but I know that many people have started to do some work and thinking and reflection about what really matters and what's important. What we know from neuroscience is that when you're able to voice your purpose, your why, what matters, let's just use that basic language, you tend to be more content and happier. That's a pretty soft word, isn't it? And you tend to be able to connect more to and more open up, more curious about the world at large, that wider picture, if you like, the world as a whole. And it might be something spiritual, but it also helps you become more grounded. So neuroscience, we know this around that whole area of purpose, that people are more conscious, they're more grounded, they're more connected, where their contribution, where their place perhaps in the world is. So I genuinely believe that people are making that connection to what their role in life is, in this massive ecosystem, call it planet Earth, and also ground their own contributions into that. Maybe before, you know, I'm being quite generalized here, but maybe before we took a lot of it for granted. You know, we might have done some recycling, but not really thought about how our actions can compound. What we do know from neuroscience is that when we're aligned to our purpose, we actually produce more of 3 different neurotransmitters: dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. There's some nice long words for today, but those are all. Dopamine is often referred to as the happy hormone, neurotransmitter. It's actually the motivating one. So if you do something and you get a reward in your brain, you're going to want to do it again. Oxytocin is about connection, so that connection, love, and the wider purpose thing. Serotonin is about mood. So if you think about it, if you're feeling in a great mood, you're feeling really motivated, you're feeling really connected, then you're more likely to take to act in a way that helps you with your contributions in a sustainable world. You're more likely to be motivated to want to make those contributions and lay down some new habits in your life that will be repeatable, reinforceable, you're proud of them, you feel good about them. So I think that that whole purpose element has crept up on many of us, and it's a good thing. And it's then resulted in some really small actions, small changes maybe, or maybe big changes, but we have a realization now about where we sit in the world a bit more and how all of our small contributions actually really matter.
Definitely. Oh, some gold nuggets there, you know, or green nuggets. Let's
like it better, the green nugget.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, some fantastic stuff there really is. And I think, you know, it can really help us, like you say, just starting with little things, you know, and making a habit of it, then, you know, it does, you know, I know you talked about the neural pathways changing so that you can, you know, turn that into a habit, and it doesn't feel like it's a chore that you do every day. It becomes part of your lifestyle.
Very much so.
How have you moved in your business to become more eco-conscious? If you can just let us know, we've got a few more minutes still to go.
Yeah, okay, so it's some I was going to say quite basic stuff, but actually it's really fundamental. So we work internationally, and so at a really core level, it's really made us think about, do we ever need to hop on a plane again? Really, you know, this forced change through the pandemic and more towards the sort of Zoom working, it's worked. And again, you know, did we challenge that before? Yes, sometimes we did. You know, did we both really need to go because I've got a business partner? Do we both really need to go to a particular event, for instance? But now we've completely pivoted. We've moved our business online. Hey, it's working because we put our energy behind us. So the whole carbon footprint, the traveling piece is massive for us going forward. Yes, there will be times when we need to travel, and there will be some coaching situations where meetings are better done face to face. However, that's a big thing for us. The other big thing is the paper piece. In the training and coaching world, we so often print off workbooks, binders, handouts, call it what you will. Do we really need to do that? No, you know, even I have learned how to do a printable, a fill-inable, that's not the word, PDF. You know, we're able to do, and I'm conscious of that with the people who send me them. do I need to print them off? So we're not quite there yet, but in the next few months, we've got a stock of our binders. In the next few months, we will be going absolutely paperless, and that is a contribution, we believe, to the planet, but also how we feel about it. You know, it sits with our values of doing our bit and being very eco-conscious about running our business. And I also learned from a previous episode of this about just making sure that you don't stream at a high level. Do you really need to stream at these levels? You know, all of what we're doing with our technology as well, we can operate in a far more eco-friendly way.
Definitely. And you can choose who you go with as well. It's sort of, you know, looking at these onlines and the impact we have then, it's about going with those that have got the same values. Maybe their servers are run by renewable energy and that as well. So definitely. Yeah. What, just to finish off then, so what would you say is your top eco tip?
So my top eco tip is exactly the same as my top coaching tip. It is be mindful. I think there is nothing better than the power of the pause. So do you really need to switch the television on? Do you really need the second lamp? Do you really need to turn the thermostat up? Do you really need to use the tumble dryer when tomorrow is going to be a really rainy, really not rainy, a windy day? You know, it's about forward planning. You know, we actually batch cook now. Food wastage minimal, and I'm very proud of that as a family. So be mindful of what you're doing with your choices. It just takes a second, and I think that's my top eco tip.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is a really, really good tip, and something that many people can adopt very easily. So I know you can find you at mybrain.co.uk, is that correct?
That's right, yes.
And on Facebook also at MyBrain International. And I will also link to a show that we did with you last week with my on the small business chat with Christelle, where you talk more in depth about neuroscience and business. So I'll pop the links in for those who are watching, so that you can take a look at that as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Gill, and such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Lovely. Thank you for inviting me. It's always great to talk to you, Karen. And I think what you're doing here with this show is excellent. So thank you. I've learned so much from it over the months.
Thank you so much. And to all our viewers who are watching, if you're catching the replay as well, please keep coming with your questions. I know Gill will love to answer any questions that you have, share links with you as well. So pop them in the comments, and we will see you all same time next week. Goodbye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you.